Welcome back, everybody. Today we will be talking about sub 3-inch bladed knives. Knives that are pretty much legal anywhere you go. Don't quote me on that. I'm not a lawyer. Check with your local laws and regulations. But in general, all of these knives should be legal. And I'll show you some of my favorite knives under the 3-inch range. Here we go. First off, at the height, these are all arranged from most expensive to least expensive. This one kind of doesn't count because it's a wish.com clone. It's just here for the visuals of the bugout. We'll go with it. Benchmade bugout, $160 give or take. You know, awesome sub 3-inch knife, solid, yada yada. You've seen the bugout reviews. Go check out my other video on my channel that I talk about the bugout versus the ganzo, which is this guy right here. You know, great 3-inch blade, solid, jimping on the back, not too obtrusive thumb studs. Hardware is good. The screws don't need tightening. It's aesthetic. It looks awesome. I'll give it that. It looks fantastic. I know I'm not talking about the clone here. I'm talking about the actual Benchmade bugout. This clone is just here for reference. Axis lock is good functioning. I have used bugouts. For those of you that's going to chew me out, I have handled bugouts. I know how they feel, and I can reference to how that feels with this. We'll talk about that another day. But high end of the scale, if you've got money, if you've got $160 for a bugout, we have the bugout. That is a very fine option. Coming in, these can be all over the place on the scale, but this is a Deluxe Tinker. This is just here for reference, just a normal Swiss Army knife. If you don't like fidgety locks and things, nothing wrong with not liking fidgety, but if you just like more classic style, we have a Swiss Army knife here. These things are awesome, pocketable, most of them, functional for sure, functionality out through the roof on these guys. This Deluxe Tinker, which is 2 knives, scissors, pliers, and your can opener, bottle opener, screwdriver, parcel hook, and all, comes in usually around the $60 range anymore. $100 cheaper than this guy, and 100 times more functional than that guy. Awesome little knife. Next down the list, coming in at under $50 for base models of all of these. If you get fancy models, then it may cost more. But base model of the Qsp Penguin, coming in at $34 with a nice, beautiful sheep's foot blade. Nice micarta handles. Micarta! Yes, micarta of various types, not just green. Very deep carry pocket clip that is has 2 positions. Focus. There we go. We're kind of getting it. There we go. The micarta has been hollowed out to hold the pocket clip. It just kind of like slides in there like a knight sword into a sheath. But it's a liner lock. Very fidgety. It's on washers, not bearings, but it feels like it's on bearings. This knife is freaking fantastic. Very fidgetable. You can thumb flick. You can spidey flick. You can pinch drop, where you pinch the blade here and drop it down. And especially if you're doing like fine box cutting, that's a good opening to go with. It's just comfortable. I've got big hands. This is a full 4-finger grip. This little guy is absolutely amazing. Out of the budget knives, this is my favorite knife that I've ever carried. This guy is absolutely fantastic. D2 steel, micarta, comes razor sharp, holds an edge, keeps an edge. A little hard to sharpen because it's D2, but that's fine. It's not impossible. It's not hard. It's just, if you've never sharpened a knife before, it can seem daunting. Just go with what they tell you in the books, and you can sharpen the blade. It's no big deal, nothing to fret about. This guy has been a beater of mine. The micarta has aged well. I think for $34, you're getting $150 worth knife. I think compare this to the bugout, I think the bugout can't even hold a candle to what the Penguin can do. This knife is awesome. $34. Check it out. Coming in at like $32, we have the Byrd Knives Meadowlark 2. Comes in with kind of this stiletto drop point type blade lockback. FRN handles, which is kind of a cheap plastic, but if you want a beater knife, this is absolutely fine to go with. I do think Delica scales work on this, so like you could Spyderco Delica. Excuse me. No, maybe not Delica, but you should be able to get aftermarket scales for this of different types. You could probably get copper scales for this guy, but this base model coming in at $32. Very beautiful knife. One-handed opening and closing. Kind of a bulky clip for its size, but hey, you know, it's not that bad. It's actually kind of a comfortable clip that kind of nestles into the notches on my fingers when I hold it. This is a very serviceable knife, all in all. It's a very thin, slicey blade, so if you're doing like a lot of food prep and stuff, this is actually, I would suggest this as your food prep knife. This thing is worth the money. It is high quality. I've used this a bit. This thing, I'll stand behind it. This is a good knife. Quality control may be off, you know, if like a blade is bent or comes rusted or something, send it back. Byrd Knives will replace it. This is the budget brand of Spyderco. They make a few other knives like the Robin 2 and a couple others that are pretty good little knives. I'll do videos on some of those later. But the Byrd Meadowlark 2 with 4 position pocket clips. That means tip down, tip up. So far, all the knives that we've seen that have pocket clips are tip up carry. This can have tip down if you really want to have the safety. 4-way clip, completely ambidextrous, right or left-handed. It's awesome. Check it out. Next up, for like $30, we have the Ontario Knife Company Rat Model 2. Rat standing for Randall's Adventure Training. Bo Randall was a knife maker, and he made several knives for Ontario Knife Company. One of them being this little knife here, I believe. I'm not sure on the details. The original Rat Model 1 is like, you know, full 9-inch, 10-inch knife. This is kind of the mini version of that. All these knives have under 3-inch or shorter blades. It's like all of these should be legal in most places that restrict your blade length. This is a very thin, strong, slicey edge. This is still thicker, I believe. Yep, still thicker than the bugout. So if you're afraid of the bugout blade being thin, give the Rat Model 2 a try. This is a super ergonomic knife. That grip just locks in. And even on the mini knife, you still have enough ricasso and handle here to have a choke up forward finger choil of sorts. I have personally laid the edge back on this guy after tons of use. I've had this knife for over 2 years now. This is a beautiful blade. All different ways of opening it. Thumb flick, spidey flick. Drop point, or like pinch drop kind of deal. A little tricky with this knife, but not impossible. A good chunk of belly to it and a lot of straight edge to it. This knife is good. I've used the heck out of this, cutting boxes and things, and this knife has not let me down. This is on phosphor bronze washers. It's awesome. Don't know about the washers on this. I haven't disassembled it yet. Next up, we have a benchmade look-alike, technically a ProTech look-alike from Ganzo Firebird. The model is the F753, and this is a very, very close comparison knife to the benchmade bugout, as you can kind of see here. Very similar. I've done a video talking about these guys. I don't know which one will come up first, this one or the comparison video. But this is a good knife. It's comfortable. It locks into your grip. It has jimping on the back. Thicker blade than the bugout. It's very solid. The lock is good. I haven't used it that much, so I haven't gotten my hand adjusted to it yet. I used a lot of these others way more. But this is a good, solid knife. It has full liners, skeletonized. Not a deep carry clip, but it is 2-position. This knife is ambidextrous. Righties and lefties can use it. Spidey flick. It's a good little knife. For $20 on Amazon as of the time of this video being recorded, which is like July 2022. Then last on the list, probably my least favorite of these knives, is this Dozier that I found on the side of the road. If I can get a free knife, I'll get a free knife. It had the thumb stud. I took the thumb stud out because I hated it, because thumb stud came out like twice the distance past the scales and was one-sided, and it was just not comfortable. But I will admit, this is a very serviceable blade shape. The drop point, nice edge. It was a little beaten up, but I sharpened it. It stayed sharp. This is a good little knife. It's a lock back. You can drop it. You can close it. Kind of do that. But there's enough blade here that I pinch with my middle and thumb and just flick that out. Like, it is one hand opening and closing even without the clip. The thumb stud. The pocket clip is 2-position clip. There's a divot here for lefties. There's a divot here for lefties. The thumb stud was reversible. It is made by K-Bar. This is the K-Bar Dozier. If I did not say that earlier, I don't think I said that earlier. But you can see K-Bar Dozier design. This is like a $12 knife. And it feels like a $12 knife. There's no liners on this knife that I'm aware of. This knife, yeah, it's all like G10 or FRN or something. It's a decent little knife, but I don't like it. I don't like the looks of it. I don't like the handle dropping down, being so big when the blade is so straight and small. It just doesn't feel my aesthetics. Compare that to this little guy here. Something about this just feels better because it kind of like just owns the whole aesthetic ergonomics thing. We'll open all these up and have them side by side. Again, these knives are ranged from lowest to highest price for base models. If you get fancier models, then they may change the prices a bit on that. But these are my sub 3-inch knives. This is the only one legal in the UK and most of Europe. A lot of these others are not going to be legal because they lock. But if you're looking for 3-inch knives for everyday carry, something to just throw in your pocket, I mean, you can get, these big old blades like this guy here and things like, I mean, gosh darn it, these things are massive. Another little surprise, well, let's go ahead and throw this guy in right here. I forgot to throw this on the table. I tried preparing for this video and I screwed up again. This is the Boker Plus Atlas Multi. Multi meaning that it comes with scissors. The Atlas version, that's just the knife blade, does not come with the scissors. But this guy ranks in at about $30. Somewhere between there. The Atlas single blade version can come in brass and can come in copper metal scales, which is awesome. The Penguin can come in copper and brass. You can buy aftermarket copper and brass for this guy. You can buy aftermarket copper and brass for this guy. I don't know about the others though. But these are my favorite sub 3-inch blades for everyday carry, something to throw it in your pocket, clip to your pocket, throw it down in your pocket, in your bag, wherever you like to put your extra little knives. And all of these are just awesome little beaters. Each one of these can take a licking, keep on ticking. I have carried and used this. Don't say this is garbage. This is actually pretty good. I'm not condoning buying clones, but this is a surprising gem that I found on wish.com. An actual good product from Wish? Yeah, but we'll talk about that in another video. Swiss Army knives, I think, are awesome. But these are, compared to all the other knives, most Swiss Army knives can be substantially thicker than these normal single-bladed knives. So if you're wanting slim and trim, Victorinox probably not the way to go. I'm starting to really rant here, guys. Sorry about that, but if you're looking for a pocketable pocket knife, any one of these I would highly endorse, as the shape of it allows, as the function of it allows, as the durability goes. All of these are awesome. This is probably the one I've used the least out of my carry, mostly because I got all these others and I like carrying these all just a little bit more. This is good. I hate this one the most. I just hate that handle to blade ratio. It drives me up the wall. It's a train wreck. You can't look away from it, but I absolutely hate it. The Delica, it's very curvy. It may not be for some people, but for me, it's a pretty good little knife. You know, one hand opening, one hand closing, solid. I've used this thing a lot. It's a good knife. I'll back that one. I'll back all of these. Currently, I've been carrying this almost every day. Just an alternative to a Swiss Army knife. Excuse me. Burping coming up. Just a solid little knife. It's a very thick blade. It's a hidden... Excuse me. It's a hidden gem in the knife world. If you don't know about the Atlas Multi, go check it out. Boker Plus. Awesome, awesome little knife. But I think my favorite out of all of these budget knives, and one that I think could end up being your favorite, is the Qsp Penguin. This guy is fantastic. It's just a beauty, elegant. For $34, it feels like a $120 knife. Like, machining is spot on, centering is great, no blade play, no wiggle. After months of use, no blade play, no wiggle. You can't say that about a lot of knives. This guy is awesome. But thank you for listening to me rant. I hope you found some of this information informative. I hope you found it somewhat enjoyable. If you did, hit the like, subscribe, tell others about this video. And until the next time, farewell.